I'm resident of Collinwood, Joel Staines, joined here by my buddy Mark Gillman at I_Barnabas. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Very, very happy to be here.
So, what do you think, man? Charlie Bowles, do you think there's a connection between him and Michael?
Um, I never really thought about it until I watched your video the other night, and it just really it really took me by surprise because I mean there seemed to be a big story there. Listening to the caretaker talking about it, and I think there probably could be. I think it's very possible, especially if you look at the Cult of Thorn uh, aspect of it. I think so.
The only weird thing I find, because we know Charlie murdered his family the same year as Michael murdered his sister.
Hmm.
We just don't know the date. Now,
Right.
in my video, as you saw, I just put, well, he probably did it the same night.
Hmm.
Because to me, if they're going to use the Cult of Thorn, for example,
Hmm.
then these murders had to all happen. I don't think it's just going to be two murderers did the same exact murder. No, I think there's going to be more.
Hmm.
I think you have to say these amount of murders happened on the same night, the same year, and it links back to 63 somehow.
Hmm.
So it's going to be interesting if they do that and see how they do that exactly,
Hmm.
because that's a hell of a gap to space between. Okay, we're not just talking 1978 no more. We're talking 1963 when this all really started,
Hmm.
which is holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it kind of made me wonder. I guess it could kind of make you wonder if Charlie Bowles may have been involved with the cult.
Yeah.
Maybe he was the leader before Wynn took over.
I think the thing with Charlie,
Hmm.
we don't hear because we don't. The only time we hear about him is in 78, and it's brief, right?
Hmm.
I think there's two legit reasons. One, Michael, like a middle-aged man, you hear a middle-aged man killing somebody all the time, it feels like in
Yeah.
the news, even back in the 60s, and especially with the whole family thing.
Oh, yeah.
But a kid killing his sister, well, that was uncharted territory.
Hmm.
So that sort of put him on the back burner. That, and I honestly think when Charlie killed his family, his wife and two daughters, I think he killed himself too after that, like a murder suicide,
Hmm.
because I refuse to believe we hear nothing out of this guy,
Yeah.
or nothing about him, be, because well, if he's dead, what's the need to talk about him? And
Hmm.
there's only one person that's ever brought him up,
Hmm.
you know.
And it kind of got me thinking. You know, I guess I kept going back to the Cold of Thorn. Maybe if he was the leader, and then something happened. You know how Dr. Wynn passed it on to Loomis at
Yeah.
the end. If once he had that power that he had, once he lost it, you know, did it just mess him up, and that made him go crazy and kill his uh kill his family and then kill himself. Once he lost that power, he had nothing left. So I don't know. It could really, I mean, it could be that maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but um, it just leaves a lot of potential for a pretty big gap there.
Well, here's something too I just thought about when you said Cult of Thorn again.
Hmm.
Remember, it's a constellation of stars, right?
Right.
That appears in the sky. They said in Kills, Michael's been looking out the window. What if he wasn't looking at the ground? He was looking up, and in the
Oh,
sky, he,
oh,
he saw the constellation, and not on that night, or maybe or was looking for it, and then when he went outside, before he came back in, he saw it.
That's a great theory. I like that because that kept bugging me, wondering what it was that Michael was looking at. Was he looking at his reflection? Was he looking at
Right.
the town? What was he staring at? That's a great theory.
I just thought about that when you said that because I remember what Paul Rudd's Tommy Doyle had said it was a constellation of stars.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm thinking, well, if it's a constellation, he may have just been looking up,
Right.
you know. But it's really it will be interesting to see if they do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's holy shit. You know.
Or maybe it was a white horse he was looking at. Who knows? I won't.
I like that. I like how you went right there, right to the white horse. You had to go there. I love that. Oh goodness. Do you? Sorry. So this new Batman is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they've rebooted Batman too much, or no?
Um, that's a tough one. I think, Batman has been around since, what was it, the 1940s, the early 40s, I think.
I believe it was 1938, 37, one of those two.
Okay, so yeah, there's been a lot of series, and from what I can tell, I think they're using like different comic series and telling a story of Batman. So,
Right.
um, in that way, I guess I just look at it as they're just telling a different story of Batman. Um, with each new revival of the character. But um, I'm glad that this time we got a little bit more space in between after the Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
Um, that we've got a little bit of space between now and I mean, as much as I liked Ben Affleck as Batman in the brief little bit that we did get him,
Right.
um, he wasn't really. I guess he never got his own film, but I think uh, I think this one looks pretty good. And I had my doubts about Robert Pattinson being Batman, but I mean, like anybody else, I'm willing to give them a chance. And from what I could see in that one trailer, I think they made a good choice.
I liked the trailer. The
Hmm.
only thing I didn't like about this early on was the photos. And I'm
Hmm.
going to tell you the exact reason. I'm sure you're very familiar with Batman Begin, or not Batman Begins, but Batman goodness, Batman Beyond.
Hmm.
Okay. When I first saw the photos and how young and thin, like the armor looked like it looked good and futuristic it sort of looked, the photos,
Hmm.
thinking this more looks like Batman Beyond than Batman. It more was giving that, and maybe I'm wrong, it, Terry McGinnis vibes.
Yeah.
And I hated the photos.
Hmm.
But once I saw the trailer, I'm thinking, okay, this looks better than what the photos did. It's like the
Yeah.
photos like weren't, if it makes sense what I'm saying, weren't like doing it justice.
Hmm.
Like the set photos they were like the
Yeah.
director was taking. I didn't love because it felt, I'm thinking, don't get me wrong, I want a Batman Beyond movie, no doubt.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But like the photos, I'm just like, this does not look like Bruce Wayne. It looks like Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
And that's just how I felt from the photos. But once I saw the trailer, I'm thinking, okay, this looks a lot better and a lot darker than what they were showing in the photos.
Hmm. I agree, and I guess the slimmer suit and everything would make him more, quick and agile, and he's not weighted down by a lot of foam muscles. And excuse me,
Bless you.
Thanks. He's more mobile, he's more flexible, and I think we're going to see a new Batman that we haven't seen before.
I like how we're getting a lot of characters in here. We're getting Selena Kyle, we're getting Penguin, we're getting Riddler.
Hmm.
So we're getting a lot of characters in this. Freaking Colin Farrell looks great as Penguin in the trailer. Like,
Yeah.
he looks really good.
Mhm.
I never thought there would be a better looking Penguin than Danny DeVito. Colin Farrell may be proving me wrong, but
Right. Right.
so I hope this works for them. The one thing I'll say, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
Hmm.
I know we saw the Justice League movie, like the Justice League movie,
Hmm.
and I know like this. To me, the Snyder cut was great.
Hmm.
I, what are your? Have you seen it?
I've seen most of it. It was in some ways I liked it. I did like it better than the Joss Whedon version. Zack Snyder is not really my favorite filmmaker. I'm not going to say he makes bad movies. I'm not a real big fan of a lot of his things, but
Right.
I think he did a really good job with, with Justice League, and he definitely had a vision. Um, and I thought he did a good job with, his cut of the Justice League. So I thought it was very, very well made.
I think the Justice League cut is probably the best thing he's done with the whole Batman, like the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like like it for whatever reason, however he wrote that or did that story was better laid out than whatever he did prior.
Hmm.
Because it, Superman versus Batman and them throwing in Doomsday felt like a hot mess.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
they gave it all away in the trailer too.
right, like
Hmm.
this is again, this is why we you and I have talked about avoid Halloween Kills trailer after the teaser,
Yeah.
because it'll just give it all away. And this is sort
Right.
of like the experience we've had with trailers. It
Hmm.
just it, I hate anymore. It's like the only trailer I watched most, because I'm a fan of the anime, was the Cowboy Bebop one, because
Uh-huh.
I wanted to see what exactly they were going to show in the full length trailer, and I liked what I saw
Yeah.
because it reminded me of the anime a bit,
Hmm.
you know. But for the most part, with movies, like when I hear the word theatrical trailer, it's like I avoid it like the plague,
Yeah.
because I don't want it spoiled. And then here's the worst part about it too. And this is, and again, I'm not faulting any YouTuber or anything, or YouTubers in general,
Hmm.
because they're here to talk just like we are.
Yeah.
It's, trailer breakdown, trailer, this
Yeah.
Easter egg, that it's like, and so you just have to avoid that channel for that brief moment, for those periods.
Hmm.
So anytime I see spoiler this, spoiler, it's like, no, I don't want to read it. I don't
Yep.
want to see it. It's like, I'll just click on it to like your video. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Just give it a like to help you out. But do I watch it if it's a teaser or a spoiler or something you're trying to spoil? No,
No.
because that takes away what I'm wanting to watch. I don't want it ruined. I want the surprise.
Right. And the hardest thing for me was like when we started going back to the movie theaters over the summer, like when they would have trailers for Halloween Kills, it was so hard because I was keeping my head down and just listening to everything going on, and I wanted to look so much, but I didn't want to get spoiled and see something I shouldn't have seen. So that was not easy for me at all.
I give you credit, man. I do, because I know how hard it was, because I was doing the same thing. And I'm just like, so I would just do anything I could to keep my mind off of it. And but
Mhm.
really, it's weird. Julie getting, like, I don't ever want my wife to have COVID again, but like my wife getting COVID, like I wasn't on the computer as much. I had to take care of
Mhm.
her.
Yeah.
So it's like, but other than that, it's like there needs to be a way where it's like, okay, I get like you watch the trailer and it's great, but what really hurt Superman versus Batman outside of them is them spoiling Doomsday.
Yeah.
Them and then how really I get what they're doing. They're sort of going in reverse. They're having justice. This is going to be the formation of the Justice League, or this is the reason they're setting up for the formation.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, great. Now, I think Snyder's biggest thing is he needs to get to a company where he can actually lay out a proper storyboard.
Hmm.
He needs to start laying out better storyboards, because if you keep laying out hot shot storyboards,
Hmm.
take what you did in your Snyder cut as a storyboard and do that with every film you do.
Hmm.
Not I'm not saying the exact story, but if you're going to have a proper layout, then have a proper layout,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
What do you think of what do you think Zack Snyder's biggest overall legacy for the superhero genre is?
Um, I would definitely say his Justice League is, definitely top tier for him. Um, but I think it is cool that he, even though it kind of came to a halt. I think the fact that he, got off the ground, like a universe that connects, like Marvel has with Disney, and I think that's pretty awesome that he got something like that started with DC.
Right.
Hmm.
It, many people want him to do a variety of things because of that Snyder cut, because of how good that was.
Hmm.
And again, I don't know what all he's a fan of
Hmm.
exactly. I know he's done horror movies, so
I did like him in some of his horror movies.
yeah, his Dawn of the Dead was good,
Oh yeah,
was real good.
yes it
I,
was.
like that. I'm not saying he should just stick to horror, but
Hmm.
that's again because you don't want to get caught up in too many things where you're doing the same old thing. And he's
Right.
done because he did do another zombie movie that was okay, but again, if you saw Dawn of the Dead, you know you're
Hmm.
sort of seeing the same movie just with Dave Bautista.
Hmm. Right.
you know,
Hmm.
but I would, and again, I'm probably going to kick myself for saying this hard. I know the Ghost in the Shell live action didn't do great, but I think they should give this another chance and try
Yeah.
to get him aboard to actually do a proper storyboard,
Hmm.
as to suppose to just, and look, don't get me wrong, Scarlett Johansson's a good actress,
Hmm.
but you don't want to spend all your money on an actress who's that
Right.
high profile. And
Hmm.
I think them getting her because they wanted star appeal
Hmm.
hurt what they should have been doing, which was CGI the hell out of that movie.
Hmm.
Um, but again, I digress. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I was sad to hear that that it didn't get the return that they were hoping for, because I thought it was very well made.
here's the thing too, the story makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
from a standpoint, that's what I don't get. People, I've heard people complain, say it doesn't make sense. I said, okay, tell me how it didn't make sense, and then they like stop. I'm like, see, I'm like, look, I think honestly, people get so mad at Scarlett Johansson
Hmm.
for being in that movie for whatever reason.
Hmm.
The girl was a Japanese girl, but her brain got put in a different body.
Exactly.
So, I mean, look, that's Ghost in a Shell in every way.
Mhm.
So, are there things? The one thing I think they missed most, and I've said this, was more CGI, more use of it, because I
Mhm.
think there's things they could have pulled off. Now, the final sequence was pulled off perfectly.
Oh yes, it was.
This the tank, like the tank, like holy shit! It's like
That's incredible.
right. I think that to me that was their that was their best use of CGI throughout the whole movie.
Mhm.
Like again, I'm not saying their effects were bad. No, I just wanted when I heard live action Ghost in the Shell. My wife goes, "What do you expect?" I said, "Full CGI all the
Mhm.
way through, like nonstop." And I do feel they were trying to sort of be a little too like I think they were trying to keep some grit to it by not using it too much at
Mhm.
times, which I
Mhm.
get, but this is Ghost in the Shell. It's technology. You know this. Use it,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I
And
won't,
that they cast as Bato was perfect. Oh, he killed that role.
yep. I I sort of wish they sort of changed his backstory a bit.
Hmm.
And I get
Right.
why. I get why. Like all live actions sort of do this. They tangle with some character's backstory.
Hmm.
I sort of wish they wouldn't with him because his story, I think, in the anime was, to me, in my opinion, even a little better than the majors because he always felt that he was so duty to
Hmm.
the Army Rangers, and to find out that espionage and the CIA could corrupt the military always pissed him off.
Yeah.
And I always thought that's the one. Again, I'm not faulting the actor
Hmm.
because he did it.
Right.
I agree with you. He did a great job,
Hmm.
but I sort of wish the writers would have left the backstory alone
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
because in the first season of Ghost in the Shell, there's a story
Hmm.
um, called Jungle Cruise. There's
Hmm.
a episode called Jungle Cruise, and to me, it's the best episode in season one, and it has to do with Bato's backstory.
Hmm.
And for those who haven't seen that episode, I don't give a shit what you gotta go do to go out of your way to see it. Go see it. Oh goodness. But yeah, I agree with you. I gave the movie a 7 out of 10
Hmm.
for what it is. Again, I don't think it's bad. I just think there's things Paramount could have did to I don't say they sabotaged the movie. They didn't do that,
Hmm.
but to sort of make it better. I love my favorite character was Daisuke Aramaki. I thought that character was done to a T
Hmm.
perfectly from start to finish.
Yeah.
Because Aramaki in the series could be the coldest son of a bitch and
Oh yeah.
the most heartwarming and like the same scene.
Hmm.
And that's exactly how they did him.
Yeah. I thought he was great. I they did perfect casting with him.
Yeah, Beat Takati, I think, is the actor who played him.
Hmm.
And just like it's like holy shit, that was done right. So,
Hmm.
but do you think we'll now we're getting the Flash crossover movie?
Hmm.
Do you think we'll get another Justice League movie?
Another Justice League movie. I think as long as they put Zack Snyder in the director's chair, yes, because with the fan outcry that wanted that started the campaign to get his cut of the Justice League, they were the ones that made it happen. Um, or else we would have been stuck with the one that we got in 2017. I think as long as they have Zack Snyder on board, then yes, people will go and see it.
Yeah, I find it interesting that I don't know if Warner Brothers is fully done with Zack Snyder or not. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think it's crazy that if you can see your fans outcry to get this guy back.
Mhm.
And again, I'm with you. I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan of his superhero movies either,
Mhm.
but the people weren't wrong to bring him back in a sense either. You
Oh,
know,
exactly.
it's that's what's crazy about it. It's like when I said bring him back, I'm thinking, was he? Because here was my concern when they said bring him back. I'm thinking, no offense, other than his horror movies that I like,
Mhm.
I, Zack Snyder never blew me away as a superhero director
Mhm.
creator. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, he has. I'm not going to say that his movies, just in my opinion, were bad. It was just, he had his own take, and
Right.
it just wasn't for me. And one thing that, and I guess it's just how um, he sees things. But one thing that drives me crazy about his films are how dark the color palette is. Um, I mean, it worked for me in Dawn of the Dead. I thought it looked really good. In the movie 300, it looked good. But I guess in the superhero films, him having like such a dark shade over everything, it just didn't work for me.
It makes a dark shade makes sense if you're doing the shadow. It makes sense if you're doing Batman,
Hmm.
but Superman, eh,
Yeah.
you know, and don't get me wrong, like, because I want to save that full discussion for when we have that Fred Barnes on too.
Oh,
But
yeah.
my biggest thing is, and this is just where I'll leave my opinion of it,
Hmm.
to have that dark, it felt like I was watching a horror movie at times.
Hmm.
Not a DC superhero movie. And don't get me wrong, superhero movies have dark matter in them,
Oh, yeah.
but I'll compare it to another movie, another superhero movie I felt was too dark lit at times.
Hmm.
Superman Returns.
Hmm.
Now, they didn't do as much as he did with it,
Right.
but there's moments where Superman Returns just feels like a dark, mooded horror movie.
Hmm.
But I digress.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, Man of Steel just felt more like kind of like a dark sci-fi movie to me um, than a superhero movie, which is what I'm saying. He did his own thing and focused on like taking it more of Superman being an alien, um, and just really hammered, that take in, but it just wasn't it just wasn't for me. But yeah, it felt very much like a dark sci-fi thing, and I noticed right away when I got to go see it for the first time. Um, I was kind of turned off by Krypton. I was used to them being like a very advanced, intelligent race, and this was like I was at a Lord of the Rings movie, with a giant battle going on, and it just felt a little too different. But I was like, hey, this is what he sees it as. That's fine.
Right.
But you know, I just didn't like it. It just wasn't for me.
I think that's just it. It's like I get, look, General Zod threw a coup. We know what a coup is,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it doesn't have to look so damn dark. And so,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have your film look dark to have a dark mood.
Right.
It just, there can be broad daylight and you could have something happen, and that moment is dark in that movie to
Hmm.
where it goes, oh, you go, oh shit, that just happened, you
Right.
know? uh, Hell, okay, I'll give a perfect example. Our favorite horror, John Carpenter's Halloween is shot during the day and night. When Michael Myers pops out during the day, it's like holy shit, right?
Yeah.
And it's bright as can be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like lit dark, like it's broad daylight,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see him clear as day, and you're still sort of like, oh shit, this is not going to be good.
Right. And those are some of the most frightening scenes. I mean, of him just showing up in the daytime, like when he is, when Laurie looks out the window in her classroom and sees him sitting outside. And then when those kids that are teasing Tommy Doyle, that one kid like bumps into him, and then he follows Tommy, all the way around the schoolyard, walking down the neighborhood. Those are some of the scariest scenes, I think.
Oh, and too, one of my favorite things is when Lori and Annie are discussing Mr. Riddle.
Oh yeah.
Someone was standing in Mr. Riddle's backyard watching. Lori, Mr. Riddle is watching you. Mr. Riddle's 8. He could still watch. That's probably all he can do. And I'm thinking, poor Mr. Riddle probably got 86 by Michael Myers. And they're
Probably.
talking about the can't get it up. Jesus Christ.
Probably did.
Yeah. Michael's never one to, miss an opportunity to kill somebody.
Exactly.
Like, this old man's in my way. He doesn't have too long. I'll just help him out here.
Right.
Like,
I remember when I was playing and he told me to get off my lawn. Come here, Mr. Riddle.
like, I remember you, you son of a bitch, right?
Exactly.
Oh god. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and I'm not trying to use horror as an example, but
Mm-hmm.
Halloween, when you have a dark character, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can have that character be dark, and like you said, you can have the it just be bright, but the character's dark.
Mm-hmm.
I think films are just trying to be so dimly lit at times,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I don't know if you've seen the new Doom.
I haven't.
Okay, I won't. I'm not going to say no more though.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
no, no. But well, I'll just say this: it's not that they light that perfectly,
Uh-huh.
and there are dark characters in it.
Mm-hmm.
I like how the lighting is in the movie, but yet how dark the tone is of the
Mm-hmm.
character.
Right.
So when you see it, you'll see what I mean. It's like, okay, this is bright here. Now there's some gray sort of scenery,
Mm-hmm.
but there's moments when it's bright, and well, like there's all this feeling of dread that's coming throughout the film,
Mm-hmm.
and like in the original Doom.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they did a good job there. I don't know. You might see something I don't, so please let me know when you do. But
Okay.
it's it's really, I liked it for the most part. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that because I've heard mixed things. So I'm glad to hear that you liked it. So that gives me some hope on, when I do finally get to see it.
I wish, again, it would have been, I don't want to say long. I guess I wish it would have been longer than what it was. I
Mm-hmm.
felt they stopped it a little prematurely, and you'll see why. But other than that, it was good. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel you should make. Again, I'll shut up because I'll just end up spoiling it. But uh, but see, I'm so used to Julie. Like, what's gonna happen here? What's gonna happen here? Like,
Mhm.
if I tell you, what's the point of you watch it? Just shut up and tell me. I'm like, well, if I shut up, I
Which one do you want, sweetheart?
can't. Yeah, right, right, right.
Mhm.
No, and then no, I do not edit my videos, so that's getting in here. Yeah. So, oh goodness. Do you think that because we've had Justice League.
Hmm.
We've had you still have the Flash crossover movie coming. Aquaman 2 is coming.
Hmm.
Do you think we'll get more lesser known DC characters?
Um, I think so because I think Shazam did pretty well.
Yeah.
I thought Shazam was pretty good. It was a lot of fun. Um, I would say so because I think they're you know I think they're trying to not be so obvious about it, but I think they're trying to see how Marvel does when they take risks like that
Right.
because I believe at the time before the film came out, Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of like the low barrel of Marvel, from what I was told from Marvel Comics. That was really reaching low, and look what happened with it. They took a risk, and Guardians of the Galaxy, just exploded everywhere. And I think uh, I think that probably gave them a little bit more, free range to kind of sit back and take a look at a lot of the DC characters because DC has been around for a long time. So there's like a plethora of so many different characters that they could pull from.
I think the question would really, really be an interesting character for them to do.
Mhm.
Um, I, I'll say this:
Mhm.
if they make another Shadow movie
Mhm.
and they use Robert Patterson's book,
Mhm.
I will strangle the shit out of them. Like, just a fucking problem. They're two chapters, like 2 pages made a chapter,
Mhm.
and the longest chapter is 3 pages. And
Oh,
like,
that's frustrating.
and it's just like there's a thing, there's this poison that's used, okay,
Uh-huh.
and you're thinking, and even Lamont Cranston says it was Shiwan Khan. Okay, he assumes it's Shiwan Khan, which I would think it would be, right?
Mhm.
Well, Shiwan Khan says, no, I didn't create the poison.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't make sense. So was the person who created the poison over 100 some odd years old too? Because you don't really say who created the poison,
Mhm.
um, which was stupid. They turned the shadow into a fucking house cat, and I love cats and all, but
Right.
it's like no, no. And
Yeah.
literally, this shit book inspired my story that I like. I
Mhm.
literally got so pissed off at this.
Oh, I can understand.
Like, I lost interest. Like, I've never lost interest in a story that I've read until I read that book, and
Wow.
that's for me. That's saying something. Like,
Yeah.
I I, I love to read,
Mhm.
and you guys know this.
Mhm.
If you guys send me something, I love reading it,
Mhm.
and so because I get excited to read,
Mhm.
and I've always been that way as a kid.
Mhm.
So when I picked up that book, I'm thinking, okay, I hope this is good. I was excited. I open the cup, I get beyond the cover, I start reading, and I'm just losing interest with each passing page. And my
That's
wife
a
said, I put it down so many times. And the one thing I'll say is, if I'm putting a book down,
Mhm.
that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I
And
can't imagine doing that. So
you know,
yeah, that's rough.
and I think it was John who was telling me the reviews on Amazon are like the people are giving it bad reviews. I said it deserves bad reviews.
Yeah.
I said it wasn't. Here's the biggest issue with it too.
Mhm.
It was outlined by one person, Robert Patterson, and the person who wrote it wrote from the outline,
Mhm.
meaning two different people wrote it. And I wish the second person would have taken liberties and did their own story
Yeah.
and not went off that outline. That went on what it did their own outline, but they didn't. It's like the Shadow is supposed to be this mysterious character, even to his agents, a master of darkness and deduction. He figures everything out. Even the agents don't know exactly how he figures them out. And you mean to tell me you fucked all that up in this book? And it just, when I read the part that pissed me off most before the cat was when I read that he doesn't wear a cloak, he doesn't wear the black gloves, he doesn't have the revolvers, and he doesn't have the laugh. I'm thinking, who the hell is this then?
Yeah, then who is he?
Right? It's like that's what made the character. It's like even in the radio, he does mention the radio of the Shadow. Okay, if you've heard even if you've heard just of the radio, you know the Shadow laughs. And how he laughs, it's sinister as fuck. And it's like, why would you take all that and strip it away? Is beyond me.
Because it's just like, what are you? I mean, and that's the thing. If you change the character that much, then why even bother calling that character what you did, the Shadow? If you're going to change him so much, then why not just make your own character, somebody else? Don't change them that much and just slap a famous name on it to tell a different story. That just doesn't make sense.
Hey, here's the thing too. Walter B. Gibson, when he initially revealed Lamont Cranston as the Shadow, he realized what he had done. So he corrects the mistake he made the next book, the next book. But the Shadow laughs. And he has the chapter, Lamont Cranston talks to Lamont Cranston. And the Shadow comes to the real Lamont Cranston and has disarmed his gun. He comes to his bedside and he pulls back the cloak, and standing before Lamont Cranston is Lamont Cranston. And he tells him, I know more about you than you do. And Lamont Cranston almost is challenging him on this. He goes, well, I wrote a letter to a friend from Cleveland. Well, I received that letter and I replied to it, summon your friend from Cleveland. He will choose the real Lamont Cranston and I will be his choice. And this is what I mean. It's like, no one knows who this dude is, and he literally can take any goddamn identity he wants. No criminal has a shot.
Right.
Like, that's the scary part about it. And it's like, here's this normal rich guy that he's doubling as to sort of to his own gain. And he's telling the rich guy, you need to leave town or there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And not for me, for you. Beautiful.
Right.
But yeah, I wish he would have done a better job. I was somewhat excited about it, and then it's like I read it and it's like, nope.
Yeah, because I mean he's been writing books for years.
Right.
So I mean you have a certain expectation with him, but I don't know. But I'll ask you, to me, DC has a lot more memorable villains like the Joker and all that. Did you like the 2019 Joker movie?
I did.
I did too. Would you like to see more like standalone films of the villains by DC?
No, not too many. Because I think if you do that too many times, you're going to get into too much. You don't want to get into so much lore that it's ridiculous. That it becomes numb to an audience. So if they do one more villain, like just one more, then do just one more. Don't like the Joker. I sort of said this in my tweet or review, I forget which. It was like the male evil Victoria Winters. Like He didn't know who his real parents were. Never had. He was never any. He never had a real identity,
Right.
and that's what made him beautiful. That's what made the movie beautiful. It's like the Joker has always been someone who never had a real identity.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that part the
Mm-hmm.
most. They kept that true to form.
Mm-hmm.
So find another villain, not necessarily as good as Joker, but find a villain that's worth giving a backstory to.
Mm-hmm. If you could pick one, just one, who would you pick?
Oh shit! That's, you had to ask that one, didn't you?
Yeah, sorry.
No, no, you're. It's that's hard to say. Trying to honestly think. This might be mute, but because honestly, the complete and and again, you couldn't feel sorry for the son of a bitch either because he's that evil.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the backstory of Darkseid
Mm-hmm.
from for Superman. I think that would be the one
Mm-hmm.
that I would be most interested in.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very, very good. I think that would be great.
I mean, because here's somebody who, between wanting to destroy Superman or wanting Superman on his side, either or. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's that maniacal,
Mm-hmm.
and he does not. They say he wipes out Superman out of fear. I think he's always tried to wipe Superman out because he wants the easiest path to
Mm-hmm.
victory. And that's what any real general would want. Zod just wants his own planet.
Right.
Darkseid just wants to rule the fucking universe.
Right. Right.
So what Zod wants compared to what Darkseid wants, there's a big tipping scale there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But
Very, very, very true.
what I what I would love for the Shadow to do,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, don't tell a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
No backstory. Just come in like they did with the way Walter B. Gibson did with the Living Shadow. Have him save somebody. When I wrote the story I did, I had this guy just sitting on a bench. Here's this reporter who's talking to him, Clyde Burke, who's one of the Shadow's trusted agents.
Mm-hmm.
He's older. He tells the Shadow, obviously, about Derek, and the Shadow finds out the rest for himself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how he does it, he just does it. And that's sort of the thing. I do wish they would find a way to properly bring this character back because he deserves to be brought back. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
no character in comics has been more ripped off from than that character.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
but
think one, if I could think of a person that I would love to see, um I guess like a character study film done like they did with Joker, I would really like to see the Penguin. I would love to see an Oswald Cobblepot movie, um, because he was very, very much a gangster. He was supposed to be one of the most vicious villains in DC. Um, I mean, human villains, and I think if they got a good person to play him, I would love to see an Oswald Cobblepot Penguin movie.
if you had to pick one Marvel villain to do a backstory, who would you pick?
Marvel, um, hmm. Let's see. I would like. Let's see. Oh goodness. I would probably say the Green Goblin.
Nice.
I would like to see uh, a movie about Norman Osborn. What I guess he always like, and I love the way that Willem Dafoe played the Green Goblin. That dual nature of himself, and I mean, we got the Sam Raimi movie that shows a little bit of what pushed him over the edge, but I would love to see a Norman Osborn film.
I got to give a little flack on Sam Raimi a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not for Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy that was in the process who had a full script for a Shadow movie in the 90s.
Really?
Took his script and turned it into Darkman. That's how we got Darkman.
No way.
Yep. And
Wow.
now they ended up doing the Alec Baldwin Shadow movie, which is really, really good.
Uh-huh.
I love. But we literally almost lived in a world where we got a Sam Raimi Shadow movie. And it drives me nuts that we never did.
Because he's not going to go back to that.
No, he's not.
Oh, that's frustrating. I know that's what the Darkman movie where Darkman came from.
Yep. Because the Shadow dressed in black, he had multiple identities. You know how he tears off the face in the Darkman movie?
Yeah.
The Shadow does that in the pulps. So, and like how Darkman dresses is pretty much how the Shadow would dress. So, literally, Sam Raimi had a script for a movie, a Shadow movie, but because of issues that I won't get into, fucking studio, but he took his script to piss off, and he had every right to, and turned it into Darkman, and we got a beautiful fucking movie in the process. But think about this: we could have lived in a world where Orson Welles wrote and directed a Shadow movie. We didn't get that. We could have lived in a world where Sam Raimi wrote and directed a Shadow movie, and we didn't get that. That's two famous directors that literally could have did a Shadow movie and didn't.
Oh, that's frustrating.
I think the Shadow has just had bad luck when it's not come to movies, but come to getting, I guess, I won't say comp, because the 1994 movie, 95 movie is really, really good. Mm-hmm. It's the best, probably, Shadow movie out there. Mm-hmm. But it makes me think what could have been.
Yeah.
But for Marvel, I can't really classify the person I'm about to mention as a villain. He just is. He just is. And I hope to actually see him instead of just as a cloud, but Galactus.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because we got a glimpse of him in that Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer movie.
Yep.
Oh, that would be great. I forgot all about Galactus.
Because I love Silver Surfer. I know Silver Surfer's backstory up and down, It's like, I know eventually we'll get that movie.
Oh, yeah.
But a Galactus backstory would be nice, or, just a movie in general would be nice. Mm-hmm. So it's just, Marvel and DC has a lot to go through. I got to ask you this, with Marvel now having the rights to, Disney having the rights to, they got Marvel. Now they have Dragon Ball Z. You have another superhero franchise in your midst. Do you think they're just going to do that by itself, or do you think they're going to try to throw it in with the Marvel universe?
Oh gosh. I would say to begin with that they'll probably do it by itself and see how it does. And then I guess before they would try something that bold, they would, you know, give it solo thing, um, a run and see how it does.
Here's what I think they honestly need to do, and I agree with Daniel Culver on this.
Okay.
Shout out to him because me and him were talking about this way, way back.
Mm-hmm.
If you're honestly going to do this right, do Dragon Ball right. Don't worry about hiring some American hotshot writer.
Mm-hmm.
Go get Akira Toriyama, the man who created Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z,
Mm-hmm.
and have him write this and direct this.
Yeah.
And you will have a beautiful fucking movie.
Uh-huh.
Anybody outside of that, I wouldn't trust because or at least get Daniel to write it. Daniel knows Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's written a hell of a story. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, why, like, what they did initially for the first movie, Goku in fucking high school, was what the flying fuck. Listen, that movie, makes Rob Zombie look like a goddamn genius. Okay,
Oh, oh,
so
oh, wow.
that's that's all I'll
Ooh.
say. That's all I'll say.
Uh-huh.
But it just, it's not a good. There's some things they get right,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like the sins they commit in that movie just are awful.
Yeah.
Like when like in Dragon Ball, Master Roshi trained Goku and Krillin. He knew them since they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, he just met Master Roshi, and it's like, and he's a full blown teenager. So like when Master Roshi gets wished back in the series, you get why, because Goku knew him all those years, like as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That he taught Goku and Krillin together. Okay, why would in the movie Goku wish Master Roshi back when he didn't know him for that long instead of his own grandfather? It's like, what are you doing? But
Right.
it just it yeah, it's a frustrating movie to watch. It'll make your head spin at least 3 times. You'll feel like Linda Blair after you watched it.
Nice, nice. But I was going to ask you, speaking of Rob Zombie, what do you think about the Munsters?
I've seen the photos. The photos look good, actually.
Yeah, they do. They
That's
do.
I'll tell you this. He did a lot of work on that set.
Mm-hmm.
I can't knock him because he looks like he's doing everything right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll watch the movie. I'm not going to not watch it. I mean, I'm a
Oh yeah.
fan of the monsters too, like you are. What
Mm-hmm.
do you think, though?
Um, I'm definitely going to give it a try because I've always been a huge fan of the Munsters. I like the Adams Family, but I was always Team Munsters. Between the two. So I think he's done a great job. Like I said in that photo, I thought everything looked good. Um, I'm hoping that maybe, because since he did Halloween 2, I think he's only made one other movie. Wasn't it 31?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm hoping maybe he's kind of taken some time to kind of reinvent himself a little bit, and so I'm curious to see. I mean, of course I'll give him a chance, and see how he does with this. I hope he does. I hope he does right by the Munsters.
Who would you get to play Marilyn Monster, or the normal looking one, obviously?
Right, right. The one who always thought she was ugly and hideous. Um, I would say, um, I would say probably Chloe Grace Moretz because of her history in horror, and I would say probably her.
I have a name that's going to be very familiar to people.
Okay.
Lily Rose Depp.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be good.
Because listen, there's when I think of her, and here's this beautiful blonde, right? And Chloe could pull it off too. That's the beautiful part of this. That could walk into this house and here's all these monsters, and it's like, oh shit. Did I walk into?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be really good. Really, really good. Yeah, I forgot about Lily Rose. Yeah, that would be good.
Uh, I think though Chloe though, that's a great choice, you know, like
Mhm.
too, like that I would have either or, you know. But
Yeah, I'm excited to see the movie. I can't remember when it's supposed to come out because I'm so far behind on, the news and everything, but I wouldn't think it would be too much longer.
man, I'll tell you how excited are for you. The Dark Shadows cast is getting together to do a read along of A Christmas Carol. We have David Hennessy and Alexander Isles,
Mhm.
Laura Parker, David Selby.
Mhm.
I mean, God, like this is like a dream come true, right?
Is Yeah, that when I saw that and saw Alexandra Isles' picture, I was hooked. They had me at that point.
I told
I
my wife, I showed the picture to Julie. I was like, pinch me now.
like hell has finally frozen over.
It's like I say, I said, I think I might have to actually give my soul to the devil here because this has happened. God damn it. But yeah, it's great, right? It's like holy shit.
Mhm. And I love the story, so I'm excited to see. I don't know if they did they ever release who was reading, which part?
I'm not sure. I don't think, but
Mhm.
I know I've given the link to the Quarantine Theater Company's
Yeah.
YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, I think I tagged you in that. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
No, no, it
Okay, good. Glad you remember. Because I was like, did I tag him in that? I'm pretty sure I did.
did. Hmm.
But so December what 19th?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so December 19th. It's like I'm just waiting, you know, like you. I'm like fucking excited.
Oh
I
yeah.
got like so much adrenaline for that. It's like holy shit! Just can we get to that day already?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it would be really really cool to if hand to God. I hope like after they read it, we get some sort of Dark Shadows announcement.
Hmm.
Like
Oh, good.
that's my hope that after like either before or after the reading, there's some sort of announcement concerning the new series. Maybe Alexander's coming back to that. That would be fucking out of this world fantastic.
Yes, it would. Yes, so any involvement that she would
Right.
have in, even if it
Yeah.
was just, as like a executive producer or something,
Yeah.
um, I would be very, very grateful for.
I just I'm with you. Like anything they can get them to do, be a part of it, do
Mhm.
it. Like
Yeah.
and no to the people work. I don't give a shit if you have to sell your soul for that to happen. It can happen,
There are
god damn
people.
it. Right, right. This is a need we need, god damn it. But oh shit. It just I know you're excited. I am too. I'm just so over the moon excited about that read along of A
And I love
Christmas
the story
Carol.
of Christmas Carol too. So I think this is going to be such a great treat to have it read and performed by the Dark Shadows cast.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just so excited.
Hmm.
Do you do you think with Warner Brothers merging and New Line merging, so basically Warner Brothers has Freddy, I would assume. Do you think we get another Nightmare on Elm Street?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
I
I'm with you.
will. I think that's going to be one of the first things that they're going to go for, because people have wanted that for a long time. They want their Nightmare on Elm Street back. Um, and that's what made New Line Cinema a name.
Yep.
So I think I think that's probably going to be one of the first things that's going to be brought to the table is let's start planning a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah. I gotta believe, because I refuse to believe Warner Brothers is just gonna focus on DC the rest of their life. You
Hmm.
know, you know, again, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it and what they end up bringing to the table. More importantly, who,
Hmm. Right,
and and that's not a hint at Robert Englund, but if he takes it as one, hey.
right, right. But I wouldn't be surprised. I hope they don't do this. I hope they don't do because Halloween just did it, and I
Right.
think they've done a good job. But I hope they don't like retcon everything and make a sequel to the original, and that would completely disregard like Dream Warriors and all that. But they might. I don't know.
I'll say this:
Hmm.
I felt Leprechaun has retconned their shit after Halloween had success, and Leprechaun I thought did a horrible job.
Yeah.
I thought that was just so poorly thrown together. And
Hmm.
and look, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going down the same route, retcon.
Yeah.
Don't do it just because the other kid did it and it was really fucking cool.
Hmm.
Um, this isn't high school,
Right.
so
Right.
but it just I think they do need to look at what they honestly want to do
Hmm.
and go from there.
Hmm.
Now, again, I think whenever whatever their decision is, do not be afraid to cast someone else as Freddy if Robert says no.
Hmm.
Don't meddle with that person you hire. I feel Jack Earl got ramsacked so hard it's not even funny, and I don't think it wasn't his fault that movie went
No.
downhill. He did a
No.
hell of a job.
Yeah.
Um, you know that. I know you know that, but it just that
It needs said again.
right, yeah. Jackie Earl just he's never going to get enough credit for what he did, and I think he did a hell of a job.
I do too.
Um, I hope he finds something to do because that guy's a hell of an actor,
Yeah, he is. He's a great actor.
So, but I just think that's it. I hope Warner Brothers just honestly takes their time and doesn't cave to the pressure of retcon. I'm with you on that,
Yeah.
because if you've seen Leprechaun, yeah, that wasn't pretty. Um, don't get me wrong, but I don't think the actor who played the Leprechaun did a bad job. I just think the story was shit.
Yeah, it was. It
You
was.
know, it was like really, really, like it, Tori Redding's daughter was homeschooled and was the dumbest protagonist I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's like you do not make a character this dense, like
No.
uh, ever, unless it's a comedy.
Right, right. Then it could work. Yeah, it could work. Um, but I would love to see at some point. Um, I would love to see if they bring back Nightmare on Elm Street. I would love to see Heather Langenkamp involved in some way. I would love to see Amanda Weiss involved. Um, I don't think I don't think they would bring Johnny Depp on board, but
No.
unfortunately for him, but um, I would love to see them involved in some way.
I have the perfect role for Heather for you.
Hmm.
She could play the cop
Hmm.
like her dad was the cop.
Yep, exactly, exactly. That would be good. That would be really good.
I'll get him for you, sweetie. Just tell me who he is.
Yep.
I could see her saying that line just
Oh,
so
yeah,
easily.
exactly, exactly. Um, but yeah, I would love to see them, and I would hope because I know she's getting up there, but she's still an amazing actress, and I love that she's still so active in so many horror movies. I would love to see Lynn Shay um, to
Yeah.
come in the movie. I think they need, even if it's just a brief cameo like she had in the original. I would hope that they would bring Lynn Shay into this movie at some point.
Yeah. I I don't know what they're gonna do in the long haul of things. I wish it did.
Hmm.
But I'll say this. What horror's direction is should not just depend on what one franchise does.
Right.
Meaning, and I love, look, don't get me wrong, I love Halloween.
Hmm.
And yeah, they've done a hell of a job with it,
Hmm.
but don't just copy something for the sake of copying it.
Right.
You know,
That's a mistake that killed it in the 80s. They just got too much in competition with each other and copying, and then it just kind of fizzled out, and a lot of people got tired of it.
it's one thing to do something with a movie that's been so long that hasn't been done, right? Like
Hmm.
remake or record. I'll give a great example. Jaws. Like,
Hmm.
and again, they go to touch Jaws. And again, it shocks me that Universal hasn't done it because Universal has made a couple of shark movies now, and it's not been Jaws.
Hmm.
And I think honestly, Universal's just testing the waters quite literally to see how they fare.
Hmm.
But I think they should just pull the trigger and do a Jaws remake. If you're
Hmm.
gonna do it, do it. Don't pussyfoot around and chicken shit and do it.
Hmm.
You have a set of balls, use them. To don't you know the only people Universal's playing chicken with is themselves,
Yeah.
and when you play chicken with yourself, there's no real winner. You're just dumbing
You're
around, but
Yeah.
it's a bad metaphor. But it's it just boggles me. It's like, okay, you have all these shark movies you've sort of now done. Now go back to the one you want to do and do it.
Mhm.
So
I agree.
it's just that crazy. I'm trying to think. There was something else I was going to ask you, and I forget what. What was I going to ask you? Oh God, that's awful. That's awful.
Mhm.
That's awful. Oh my God. Um, okay? Here's one. You live in Carolina. Do you think the Panthers coach should get the axe? Do you think they should find a new coach or what?
Um, I don't know. I haven't really kept up with this much this year. I'm I'm not thrilled to have Cam Newton back at quarterback. I'm hoping that his time away has probably humbled him a little bit, but I doubt it. Um, but I don't know. I haven't really kept up much with it this season. What do you think?
I think from the whole season standpoint, because I'm a sports nut, but
Yeah.
I've watched football every Sunday, and this
Mm.
is what I see from every team. And I don't think it's necessarily. I think every team is literally trying to get adjusted back to a full season.
Yeah.
Where last year they didn't have preseason, this year they did.
Hmm.
There's still teams that just have shit offensive lines,
Yeah.
and Carolina is one of them.
Yeah.
Seattle, my team, the Seahawks, are definitely fucking one. It's not the quarterback. The offensive line just sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Steelers offensive line is so bad they couldn't sell it to a flea market. Um, Not saying something. I think there's just good teams that are saying our quarterback's the issue. Like Carolina, maybe Sam Darnold isn't great now,
Hmm.
and maybe you do need to find a quarterback in the draft. Sure, but also, I mean, there's times Sam Darnold has been bad. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but I keep him no. But you also need to fix other things like, your offensive line because there's times when, even Cam Newton is still scrambling for his life. So
Exactly.
he's not the young man he once was.
Exactly.
So, the the draft analysts say pick a quarterback because it's flashy. Look, we all love the flashy new car, but
Hmm.
sometimes you got to build the actual investment instead of the flashy
Yep.
car. So,
Hmm.
so
I agree.
there's that. But oh goodness. So yeah, I think there's teams like okay, Kansas City. People think Kansas City's bad. No, their offensive line is just horrid.
Hmm.
They're not running the ball as good as they were last year. They're not, when they drop back to pass, Patrick Mahomes was running for his dear life.
Hmm.
I mean, there's just teams that, could have better records if the offensive line was just better. Whatever, if it's you need linemen in the draft or you just need to switch your offense, I don't know.
Right.
But there is a problem going on with the linemen, and it just seems to be the defense at times is just falling right through them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I think they've really caught on. Like the last few football games I watched with my dad. Um, I remember it's just I can't even remember who it was that was playing, but and it's frustrating because I know it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. Um, just watching the defense, like um, the defense was good, but their offense like couldn't do jack, and it just it was just not. Um, it just wasn't a fun game to watch. The last time my dad and I watched a football game because both offensive lines were not very good, but they had good defense. So it was like nobody was really scoring, nobody was really going anywhere. And this was a couple of years ago, but it was I know what you're saying though, but a lot of people put all the blame it rests on the quarterback, and that's not fair.
right, and here's the thing too. The rule changes have favored the offense more than anything.
Hmm.
Like, and I think the defense, that's what the defensive coordinators really and the defense in general just getting pissed about. It's like you're given every role for the offense. And it's like, God damn it, you know what? They can't have an offense if the quarterback's on the fucking ground.
Right.
And guess
Exactly.
what? That's what
That's
they're
right.
doing.
Zach, then there's not much anybody can do.
Right? It's like, hey, you know the guy that has the ball? Yeah, knock his ass to the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's the oldest logic in football.
Hmm. Yep.
But yeah, it's just it's not that people like, oh, is Russell Wilson bad? I'm like, no, our offensive line is just exposed. It's not been good for 2 years straight, and
We
it's
need the
not getting it's not getting any better. Whether that's the head coach's fault or with his trading the draft picks away, or that's just bad picking.
yeah,
Um, that's up to the GM to figure and the coach to figure out. I'm just a spectator here, but
exactly.
I can tell you a bad offensive line when I see it because if the quarterback's on the ground 90% of the time, and that number may be a little high that I'm exaggerating, but he's, that or running for his dear life, like he's being chased, like he's Frankenstein and out of the mob.
Yeah.
Um, that's a problem.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is what it is. You can't automatically, like you said, everything. It's not the offensive line. The first thing that gets blamed. Oh, the quarterback. The quarterback's bad. Thinking, yeah, you'd be bad too if you were on the
Right.
ground.
There, yeah, it's not a one man show. I mean, there's not much you can do if your team's not there to cover for you.
Right. And don't get me wrong. There's going to be times when there's just bad snaps and shit, and yeah, bad block, sure. And that usually a good quarterback will overcome that. But you can't overcome when two of your linemen or close to three are letting guys through because they're getting overpowered. No, not to say I shouldn't say letting, but you know what I mean.
Right.
It just they're not blocking great, and that's just something that maybe I don't think it's a lack of practice or a lack of effort. I just think bad technique, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But again, because I'm no guru, I'm no expert, but it's just like all I can see is the quarterback running around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My wife, if they want to hear someone yell, I can video record my wife, like block for the fucking guy.
Exactly. Yeah, nobody wants to see a quarterback having to keep running out of bounds to keep from getting hit. So yeah, that's no fun at all.
Oh goodness, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to ask you. I'm trying to think. No, I don't have any questions for you, but
No, no, it's okay. I don't either. But I've really enjoyed getting to just talk about everything and just catch up with you and just get to talk to you, man. It's been wonderful.
it's been great, man. You're free Thursday too, right?
I was, but we've got a guy that's coming
Okay.
to replace a bathroom sink. So, boo. Yeah, yeah. He was supposed to come yesterday, but then he said he wasn't coming until Thursday. So he's going to be all there all day on Thursday.
Listen, I once joked with somebody once came to our house once to do something. I said, listen, if you don't get this done, my wife already has the whole pre-dug for me. You want to, do me a get it done,
Nice.
because you're not going to get the heat for this. I am, but
Exactly.
uh, Julie, I love you. Um, goodness. Mark, man, it's been so great hearing from you, man.
It's so good hearing from you too.
But Lynn, if you listen to this, God bless you. I love you both. You guys take care. You need anything or you want to talk, to hit me up on Skype or Twitter.
All right.
Um,
Love you too, dude. Thank you so much.
man, love you to pieces. God bless you, man.
You too. Good
Have
night.
have a great night. Bye.
Bye bye.